Do you have any expired cake, please? I don't mind if it's old, just something to eat. The little girl's trembling voice broke the silence of the elegant bakery. Her clothes were torn, her hair messy, and her shoes barely holding together. The cashier froze for a moment, unsure how to respond. Behind her, customers looked away, pretending not to hear. But at the corner table, a man in a dark suit slowly lowered his coffee cup, his eyes locked on the child. That man was Benjamin Carter, one of the wealthiest entrepreneurs in the city, known for his success, feared for his decisions, and admired for his power. Yet, at that moment, none of those things mattered. The sight of the girl, barefoot, shivering, and still polite despite her hunger, cut through him like a blade. He didn't know her. He didn't know her story. But for some reason, he couldn't look away. Something about her, her voice, her eyes, or maybe the quiet desperation she tried to hide, felt hauntingly familiar. As he stood up, he didn't realize that this single moment, this brief encounter in a small-town bakery, was about to rewrite the entire story of his life. Because sometimes, it takes a stranger's pain to remind you what being human truly means. If this story touched your heart, show your love, like, share, and comment your thoughts. Benjamin Carter had built his empire from nothing. He'd worked through nights, sacrificed relationships, and chased success until he had more than anyone could dream of, private jets, mansions, and a name that made people whisper. But the one thing he never allowed himself to feel was emotion. After losing his wife and daughter in a car accident 5 years ago, Benjamin had shut his heart behind walls of work and wealth. He wasn't supposed to be in that bakery that morning. He'd stopped there only because his car had broken down nearby, and his assistant was on the way with a replacement. He wanted a quiet coffee, not a reminder of the pain he'd buried. But fate had other plans. The girl, no older than 9, stood at the counter with eyes too old for her age. Please, she whispered again, even crumbs are fine. The young cashier, clearly uncomfortable, muttered, we don't have expired cake here, sweetheart. You need to leave. Benjamin's jaw tightened. He saw the people around her, well-dressed, pretending she didn't exist. He saw how she flinched at rejection, how her tiny hands clutched a ragged teddy bear as if it was the only thing she had left in the world. He rose from his seat and approached quietly. What's your name? He asked gently. The girl turned, startled, her eyes wide. Lily, she said softly. Lily, he repeated, the name rolling off his tongue with a strange ache. When was the last time you ate? She looked down. Yesterday morning. I had a piece of bread someone gave me. Benjamin didn't ask any more questions. He walked to the counter and said, pack everything she wants. Cakes, sandwiches, juice, everything fresh. The cashier blinked. Sir, she only asked for. I heard what she asked for, he interrupted, his voice calm but firm. Now I'm telling you what I want. Within minutes, the little girl was sitting at his table, staring at a plate full of food like she was dreaming. She hesitated before touching anything, looking at him nervously. You can eat, he said softly. Are you sure? She whispered. It's so much. He smiled faintly, something he hadn't done in years. Yes, I'm sure. She took her first bite, and tears filled her eyes. Thank you, sir, she mumbled between bites. You're the nicest man I ever met. Benjamin swallowed hard. He didn't know what to say. Watching her eat reminded him of his own daughter, Sophie, who used to giggle when frosting got on her nose. For the first time in years, he felt that same warmth in his chest, painful, yet alive. After she finished, he asked, Where are your parents, Lily? Her expression dimmed. My mom, she got sick. We used to live in a small room near the station. She worked at a laundry. But one day, she couldn't get up. I tried to find help, but, she paused, tears brimming. She didn't wake up. Benjamin's breath caught. And your father? I never met him. Mom said he left before I was born. He stared at the little girl, the innocence in her voice mixed with the kind of heartbreak no child should ever know. He asked quietly, Where do you sleep now? Behind the old theater, she said. There's a warm vent there. I stay with my teddy. His name's Button. Benjamin looked away, blinking rapidly. His throat tightened as he whispered, Do you trust me, Lily? She hesitated, then nodded. Come with me, he said. That day, he took her to a hotel, gave her clean clothes, and called a doctor to check on her health. He even sat outside the room as she slept, listening to her soft breathing. It felt like the first peaceful moment he'd had in years. The next morning, he made calls, orphans' welfare, local police, and social workers, to find her relatives. There were none. No records, no extended family. When he returned to her room, she was awake and coloring on the hotel notepad. She looked up with a smile that could melt stone. "Mr. Benjamin, are you mad that I used your papers?" He chuckled quietly. "No, Lily. I think you made them better." As days passed, Benjamin found himself spending more time with her. They'd walk in the park, share stories, and even bake cupcakes together at the hotel kitchen. He hadn't laughed like that in years. The staff noticed the change too, his coldness replaced by warmth, his loneliness by purpose. One evening, as they sat watching the sunset from the balcony, Lily asked, "Mr. Benjamin, why are you always alone?" He hesitated. "Because I lost my family a long time ago." She looked down. "That's sad. But maybe, you can have a new one." The words hit him harder than he expected. He reached out and held her small hand. "Maybe I already do," he whispered. Months passed, and Benjamin legally adopted Lily. The story made headlines everywhere, a billionaire adopting a homeless girl he met begging for expired cake. But to him, it wasn't charity. It was healing. Lily brought light back into his mansion, laughter back into his heart, and meaning back into his days. Every morning she'd run to him, shouting, "Dad, wake up," and he'd smile, knowing that life had given him a second chance. One day, during a charity event, a reporter asked him, "Mr. Carter, you've donated millions before, but adopting this child, what made you do it?" Benjamin looked at Lily across the room, laughing with other kids. He smiled faintly and said, "Because once, I thought money could fix everything. But it turns out, all I ever needed was a reason to feel again. And she gave me that reason." He paused, his eyes glistening. "I went to that bakery to fix a broken car. But I walked out with a repaired heart." And from that day forward, Benjamin Carter wasn't known just as a billionaire, he was known as the man who saw humanity where others saw nothing. Sometimes, the smallest act of kindness, a meal, a moment, or even a simple yes to a hungry child, can awaken the part of us that wealth and success can never fill. Because love, compassion, and second chances are what truly make life rich.